Hello everybody, I'm Richard Bonnar. Welcome once again to Bitesize Brexit. Today I'm going to introduce you to Paul Hardy, who's our new Brexit Director. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Richard.
So Paul, tell us a little bit about your role and why you joined DLA Piper.
Sure. So before coming here, I was the EU legal advisor in the House of Lords. Before that, I did the same job in the House of Commons. And then before that, I was an EU official working in the European Commission as a legal advisor and policy expert. And I joined DLA Piper because of all the firms I saw, I found the entrepreneurial spirit here really well suited to what a Brexit practice and actually a really good sort of Brexit offering to our clients would be, and a very welcoming home to be in, so I'm loving it.
Well, that's great to hear. And Paul, what kind of unique insight or advantage do you think you bring DLA Piper and our clients?
Yes, I suppose this is an opportunity for me to be un-English and big myself up. But I mean, Brexit is all about understanding the policy context as well as the legal nuts and bolts. And the policy context is unpredictable because you're talking about international negotiations. So I come with actually first-hand experience of working for the EU institutions. I get their psyches, I understand how they react. Same with Parliament, so I understand what the Great Repeal Bill is going to be like and how that's going to be enacted. And I've also had to look at every EU policy and legislation for my sins over the last 8 years. So I've got a really good overview on EU law and policy. And in terms of Brexit, I think where that's critical is that you have to understand how sort of free movement of people actually affects data protection. Every single element of EU law is related in a way, and that's very important sort of insight to have for Brexit advice.
So I think you're saying that Brexit's all about a kind of soup to nuts service, isn't it? It's London, it's Brussels, it's all the countries in which DLA Piper operates, isn't it? And it's about everything from government affairs and strategic advice down to operational matters such as relocation and so on.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly that. It's everything from high-level strategic advice, very important for big commercial entities, to nuts and bolts about how you have to amend your contracts or your staff contracts, or how you trade with the EU or how you trade with a country that the EU has a free trade deal. It's going to require really detailed legal advice as well as really effective government affairs advice and policy advocacy.
So Paul, you've been here 6 weeks now. I think you've had a pretty busy 6 weeks. Tell us about some of the things you've been doing with clients and really the key messages you're trying to get across to them.
The key messages are your clients need to understand in some detail how Brexit might impact on them, and they need to do that analysis now. The second key message to clients is DLA Piper's got the expertise. We've tooled up, we've got an extremely good global trade and government affairs service in London, in which I sit. We've also got a great global affairs sector in Brussels and in Washington. And the third thing is, I suppose the key product is, with me on board and others, I have the ability to predict what's happening in the negotiations fairly early on. So to give you some sort of hard examples, the moment Theresa May said in her speech in January that we weren't going to be in the single market, and the moment the EU confirmed that, you knew already that the chances of any passporting arrangements for the financial sector were really off the table. And then all you have to do is hear the European Union say it's really clear that the UK cannot get benefits out of cherry-picking the single market. That's all really important commercial intelligence to say, if I were you, I wouldn't think that a passporting deal is likely, and I would think of how you can get a presence in the EU.
Right. And what should business be pushing for and worrying about then? What's the biggest concern for business, do you think?
Well, the absolute critical concern for business is commercial predictability and legal certainty. And in my view, that is the biggest worry from Brexit, because 2 years is an artificially short time to negotiate a withdrawal agreement.
Great. Well, Paul, thank you once again for your insight. Thank you very much for joining us. Really look forward to working with you. Thank you everyone for listening once again. I hope you found that insightful. If you have any further questions, please contact Paul directly on his email address. And of course, please visit the DLA Piper Brexit website.